Hi everybody, it's Lori. Welcome to Pizazz Studios and thank you for joining me. And I wanted to start by saying I had some fluid art tiles here and I wasn't liking the way they turned out, but they weren't totally ugly. They just weren't exactly what I was going for. So this tile had a lot of promise. It has some pretty gold iridescence to it. I really like the colors in it. And I decided I would go ahead and stencil it and add a dragonfly to it. So here's the photo of the stencil that I used. It's from Michael's. It's by Folk Art. And they're just adhesive stencils that you can peel off and stick on the item that you're going to stencil. So that's what I did here. So now this is my first time using these items, but what I did use was a fine tip applicator. You can actually find those on Amazon. And I used Folk Art multi-surface acrylic paint in 14 karat gold. And I chose gold because of the gold that was in the tile. So my tile that I'm using is 4 1/4 inches and it's painted and it's dried, completely dried, but it's not resined or varnished or anything like that yet. So you don't want to do that ahead of time. You want to do that afterwards. And I think the stencil, it looked like it was about 3 inches by 2 inches. So just take your stencil and kind of hold it over the tile and figure out where you want to place it. So with this being the first time I ever tried this technique, I wasn't all that concerned about, being very professional about it, if you will. So I'm just applying my paint kind of thinly as I start, but then I go a little bit quicker as I start to go along. And I wasn't sure how to use a fine tip applicator. It was my first time using one, but I really liked it and it was really cool. I liked the way it turned out. So I decided to hit record and it turned out really nice. So I thought I'd share this with you because I've tried stenciling on things before and the paint always went underneath the stencil and ruined whatever the item was underneath. So this actually worked out very well for me and I'm so glad it did and I wanted to share it with you. And maybe you would like to try this out for yourself. I think it's really neat because you can save a lot of your tiles that you maybe are not your best, but still have some potential to them. And this way you can just embellish them. So I say tiles because that's what I happen to actually be working on in this video. But of course, you can try this with other items as well. It can be on wood, it can be on a canvas, or whatever you want. But in this case, I had tiles sitting around and I wanted to try it on. And I did resin it and everything, and I'll show you that at the end of the video. And now this is a great decorative tile or coaster or whatever you want it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish painting my dragonfly here. And I'll just speed this part of the video up a little bit for you. So I'm using this paint because it's a little bit thicker, I find, than some other paints. And also, it does not need to be mixed with anything like Floetrol or water or anything like that. Just pour the paint right into this fine tip applicator bottle. Oops, it looks like I turned my tile and I was a little bit out of the range of camera, but I think you can still see what I'm doing. I'm just finishing up painting the dragonfly here. And here's a close-up for you. And once you're done painting, you can just remove the adhesive stencil. The stencil will have paint on it, and they are able to be cleaned up with soap and water, so you can do that. And it does say on the package that you can reuse them up to 20 times. And so I also decided to add just a few like decorative dotting to the tile, just to add a little bit more embellishing to it. Some of it I did off camera because I went to wash off the stencil and then I came back and continued, but I forgot to hit record. So now I will do some more dotting here on camera for you. You just need to be careful with how hard you squeeze this bottle and maybe practice a little bit on some paper or something before you do it on your actual piece. Just so that you can get used to the way the paint flows out of the bottle. So here's one more close-up of the finished piece before I resin it. And this gold paint did dry flat, although it does appear to have some dimension to it while it's still wet. It did dry flat. And a couple of days later, I did use some art resin and I gave this a nice coat of shiny resin and it turned out absolutely beautiful. So I hope you'll have fun with this. I hope it was inspiring for you. And if you liked the video and found it helpful, please do hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you again on my next video. Thank you for joining me. Please leave any comments or questions down in the comments section. I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.